We're recording.
Good evening and welcome. I'd like to call the Monday, October the 25th, 2021 special call board meeting for the Colleton County School Board of Trustees to order. Welcome to those that are present with us this evening, as well as those that are watching this recorded version at a later time. At this time, I ask everyone to please stand for the pledge, followed by the invocation by Reverend Jenkins, board member. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Gracious Father, we thank you today for the ability and opportunity to come together just to conduct the business of the Colleton County School District. Let's say you bless this meeting, you bless the participants, bless our students, our staff, and everyone involved. And the decisions that we make here today will be the best we're going to know. We ask these blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Mr. Bowman will be joining us temporarily. Ms. Terrell, do we have any public input?
No.
Hearing none, we'll move on to old business, the discussion of next steps for proposed sixth grade campus. Dr. Cave?
Good evening. Let me turn this on. Good evening to everyone. I hope everyone's doing well this evening. I'd like to come before you again so that we can talk a little bit about the sixth grade academy, and so that we're very transparent with our plan to move forward. Since our last board meeting, we have done some further development with contractual agreements. They're not finalized yet, but we also have that agreement between the owner and the architect, as well as another general scope of work. I think those are provided for you. Are they in their packets, Ms. Friedel? Thank you. I've also provided those to the board attorney, although he has not had the time to look at them because they were just received later this afternoon. It takes time to get all of those together. I wanted you to be aware of those contractual agreements. Mr. Blakeney is also here, that he can answer any questions that you may have. But I asked last time that we would send the vote so that we would be sure about the amount of money that we were looking at in terms of planning for the architectural design, excuse me for the mispronunciation, of being able to move forward. From the scope of work, put my glasses on. From the scope of work and the amount of money we're looking at moving forward, is just an estimated cost. It's about $426,100 to design services to add to renovate the existing annex facility. And that is a proposal for us to provide for the architectural and engineering services as described in the scope of work to be done. Does not mean that the facility will be up and running. It means that it will allow us the opportunity to go ahead and investigate and begin the work so that we would see whether or not it's a feasible plan for us to be able to move forward. Mr. Blakeney, is there additional information you'd like to impart, or did I do okay? Any questions at this time? We did present those drawings to you before. If there are any board members who were absent at this time, I think we have one additional item here that we could share if you'd like to see what that architectural design looks like at this current state. And we may have a few more. I think we have a few more here if you do not bring yours with you.
Dr. Cave, the numbers that you were just quoting were from Exhibit A. There are two documents before us, so I just found it was the $426,100. In addition to the base fee noted, I'm assuming that and I'm just casually looking at this, so tell me and make sure that I'm looking at the right numbers. The 426, it says, in addition to the base fee, which I'm assuming the 426 is the base fee, noted supplemental services to include civil engineer design, documentation and permitting support, food services design and documentation, landscape design and documentation, and other cost estimate services are to be added to that, correct?
Is that to be added to that?
Okay.
Yes.
So just in
And
a,
that's normal, I think, as to what we normally do when we're getting ready for facility design.
and so just to be, I'm casually looking at this, the 426 plus those numbers added is looking like a number of about $500,000 total.
50148.
Pardon me?
50148.
Gotcha, I'm pretty good on my math. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Dr. King.
You just need us to approve this, right?
I just need you to approve it so that we can continue the work. One good thing about it is whether we go ahead with the facility or not, we'll already have the work pre-done, so that we have the architectural drawings, we have the engineering design, that when we get to that point of SO approval, and we have temporary approval, we have conditional approval, we'll be ready to move forward.
Yes, Mr. Duffy.
My understanding of the procurement code requires that this be done in a request for proposals, particularly given the large amount.
Is it the result of the RFP?
I don't believe it is.
It's not, so we hadn't done an RFP for architectural design?
Yes, sir.
So how did we get this firm?
This firm qualified through the state contract pricing model, and they're one of the selected architecture firm, or the selected architecture firm in South Carolina, that's state contract pricing.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
You can come back with.
Okay, so as we did when we built this building, the architectural firm that's selected has already been pre-approved by the state of South Carolina to offer competitive prices to school districts without putting out a true RFP to other architectural firms.
I just want to make sure that is in adherence to our policy.
Hold on. The procurement professional is in the building. Does this adhere to our procurement?
Okay, if it is on state contract, we can go with it, but it has to say that I don't think for them, it's not saying that it's statewide. And it means statewide, that you can use it statewide. They only did the procurement for the State Department of Education. They didn't do it for statewide districts to use it, and that's the difference.
How far back would this set us if we had to do an RFP? Usually RFPs take what, about?
30 days.
30 days.
30 days. 30 days.
And the
So in essence, Ramona, we cannot approve this because that part of the procurement code was not written for school districts.
Right.
All right, so we got to do an RFP.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
We'll put it out for a bid, we'll do an RFP for it, and then we'll come back before you when the RFP comes out.
I'd like to present that to the board for action if that is the necessary next steps and what the board wants to do. Is there a motion that we take the architectural drawings or proceed with the sixth grade campus design with the RFP that is needed?
We don't need to vote to do an RFP. That's not a actionable item for the board.
The discussion of next steps, it was a motion that was made last week that we proceed, and the specifics were not clear, which is the reason that we're bringing back this special board meeting for this specific purpose. And I would like to be as clear as possible because we were a little shaky in what we decided. I think the action of the board speaks to the action of the district so that the next steps are clear.
That's wonderful. However, we've never, in my tenure as a board member, had a board action to do an RFP. All the administration is going to do is just seek bids from firms to provide architectural drawings for us. That doesn't require and she's going to come back to us with the.
Is the question that it's not appropriate on the agenda, or is the question that it's not practice? I'm not following that.
My argument is the administration can put out an RFP to provide a service to the board and then bring that information back to the board for the board's approval. I think what Ms. Whitkin is asking to...
Oh, I'd be happy to explain. Just that I think that the action of the board needs to be clear so that because we did have to rescind a vote last week, so that there was full clarity on what the next steps are. So I think identifying those next steps, not that there is a vote to have an RFP, but that the board supports the effort to continue with this.
So
We don't need to do that.
So while there is no prohibition against a motion being made to that effect, it's on the 6th grade academy campus is on the agenda with action required noted. So there's no prohibition on a board member making any type of motion along that line.
Yeah, but I'm sorry, one more thing, Mr. Bernard. I definitely understand that there isn't a prohibition on doing it. However, it's not needed. And the actions that this board usually takes are actions that's needed. I mean, I think that's a little bit more oversight than we've ever had when it comes to allowing our administration to provide services or provide information that, would move this district forward. So I don't know if that's something that we want to do. If we want to do it, that's fine. I think it's going to pass because I think everybody up here believes that we need to at least. Go ahead, Charles.
Well, my only comment is that when we was in here before, when the first was presented and came back to the board, we voted to go ahead. So I don't know why we need to, do that again.
But you know what, Mr. Bernard, to make it easier and we move forward and to expedite it, I make a motion that we approve the superintendent to do an RFP for our 6th grade academy.
And I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to proceed with an RFP specific to the 6th grade academy campus architectural drawings. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Opposed? Motion carries.
Just to clarify, it's more than just drawings. I know you said that shorthand, but the RFP is for the complete architectural engineering design services.
Right.
I know
Thank
you
you.
said that shorthand, but I just want everybody to understand it's more than just drawings.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. King.
Thank you.
And Mr. Murdoch, you were absolutely correct. We did that before.
Dr. King,
I'm
just sorry, I'm going to clarify the ESSER funding temporary approval. Did you want to share anything about the ESSER funding temporary approval from the state?
Not at this time.
Is there any other discussion? I feel like as we move forward, Mr. Blakey, do you have anything else for us?
Well, no, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Just as we move forward, I've shared my concerns about this project. I've met with Dr. Cave and explained my concerns as well. I'm not understanding why the 6th grade campus is the best option for our district.
Point of order.
Yes,
Can we move on with the agenda, please, ma'am?
I'd be happy to. New business? Safe and secure schools, additional metal detectors purchase. Dr. Cave?
I'm coming before the board to ask that we are able to utilize some funds from our 8% fund, correct? To purchase metal detectors. As you know, priority has been for me to make sure that our schools are safe and secure. We started with our random access screens, which I brought before you. Then we moved to our metal detectors. I'd like to give you some current information now. We currently have 6 metal detectors. Three of those metal detectors are at the high school, 3 are at the middle school, The additional 12 that I am looking to order this evening and get permission from you for the use of funding for those will fill the needs to have all of our locations that will require metal detectors. As you know, our district office facility, there is no protection when you're coming in this building. There's no screening at all. So you are able to walk in at your leisure. The only protection is for Ms. Blanche Hamilton, who is sitting up at the front, and she's behind the screen. That's not very well protected for her. So I'd like to put a metal detector screening here for visitors who come into the building. Then the Adult Education Center, which has people in and out of it all day. They need a screening device there. And the alternative school, which has our alternative education students there. We need a screening device there as well. Our high school, we would like to have 7. 4 at the bus lot and 3 where the drivers and the car riders come in. And then at the middle school, I'd like to have 7, 3 at the bus lot and 2 for our 7-8 car riders, and then 2 for our 6th grade side. And then an additional unit will be used when needed, that if one goes down, we'll have one to be able to replace. This is about 18. We now only have 6 that we are able to use. And right now, I have over 1,400 children in the high school, and I have over 1,200 children in the middle school. We did some test runs, and we were able to get the children in safely in about 15 to 20 minutes using the metal detectors. And it's a very safe way to make sure that our children are not bringing in any items that they are not supposed to bring in. So I'd like permission to be able to use 8% money to be able to purchase this at a cost of $48,600. They cost about $3,750 for each one.
We're recording.
Okay, so I'd like to be able to use the 8% money for a total of $48,600 to be able to purchase the additional metal detectors to provide safety and security for our buildings.
Madam Chair.
Yes,
Madam.
I hear you. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I acknowledge you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Dr. Cave, I'm really happy to see this before us tonight. And I think the thing that makes me most happy about it is the really heartfelt email. I don't know if the rest of the board members got it and read it, that we received from a couple that works in our schools. I was really touched by that email. I usually don't respond to emails, me personally, but I felt moved to respond to that email because safety and discipline has been a focus point of this board for a very long time. And as I said in that reply to that couple, the one thing that we have always been focused on is the safety of our students, as well as the safe environment for our staff members. And I think I feel pretty safe in speaking for the rest of my colleagues when I say that. So this is definitely a sign to me that we're doing what we can do to create that safe environment for our staff members. In that reply, I also mentioned that we were constantly working with interior and exterior sources, if you will, to create collaborations, to create a safe environment in our schools. That's really tough. It's not just gotten tough, but it's been tough for many years. And it's not only tough for us, but it's also tough for other school districts across the country. So this might not be the answer, but it definitely is going to be a help, for our staff members if this board chooses to approve this request. And I personally think we should. So I'm really happy to see that this is coming before us tonight.
Thank you.
Dr. Cave,
Yes, sir.
do we have the possibility of maybe securing a metal detector for our parents as they come in at night doing coming to our board meetings. We have security here, but I really feel that it would be nice to have a metal detector here.
Yes, sir, we would be able to do that. We'll have that one that's a floater, so we could, they can be transported, yes, sir. We'll be able to move that to this location for more minutes.
Okay, I think that would be a real good idea.
I'll make note of that, it'll be in the minutes. Yes, sir.
I am pleased with what we're doing for the safety, but at the same time, I just hope that we would prep up our supervision within the school. Because even though we're gonna have metal detectors, we still need staff in their prospective places to avoid a lot of some of the situation that is going on within the school system. I just feel like I would like for us to communicate more with the children. Hopefully, we can get a better understanding. Weapon is priority, so they won't bring it into the school. But at the same time, we just need to communicate, have supervision in area that needs to be, not when there is a fight, but if they are there and prepared for any situation that comes about. Hopefully, we can alleviate some of the situation that goes on as well.
So I'll be able to speak to that. We are working on that. We have had some gang awareness training so that they are aware of their surroundings for our staff. We've had mindset training so that they know how to communicate with the children and de-escalate the children when they get at a point of sometimes no return. We're working on the supervision. Sometimes we as adults are not always in the right place at the right time, so we're continuing to work on that piece with them to make sure that they're where they need to be and to continue to build the relationships with the children. Yes.
I may be a little bit off when I say, I just don't want all of our children to be labeled as gang members.
Yes.
Because a lot of the situation I feel that are not competitive to a gang, but there are just situations that are going on that happen maybe in the community and they bring it into the school system. So there is a difference, and I just don't want our children being labeled for something that they're not.
I totally agree. Totally understand. So we have SEL, which is social emotional learning, that every child needs. So those activities occur every single day. I understand that.
Dr. Case, currently how many metal detectors, wand and walkthrough do we have in the district?
We have 6 metal detectors. Wands, I don't know that answer. We do have wands at the middle and the high school. I don't know the number that we have, but we do random access wanding. Twice a week, they receive a random access number. And like every 12th child may be wand as they come in. So we're safely, I think we do about 3 lines for them to come in. I'm looking at Sean because he kind of knows, because he sends out the number, he and Mr. McNeely. So I think we do about 3 lines, so that means that we probably have probably about 6 wands at each one of the locations for them, because you have to have a male and female that wand the children as they come in. So I would say we probably would have about 12 in each building.
Do we send out a notice of any type that there'll be a scanning?
Yes, sir, we did do that. We sent out a notice, we did, and we also sent out, I don't know if I did a video. We did do a notice as well to the parents. Did I do a video, Sean? I can't remember. I didn't do a video, but we did send out a notice. And we also sent out the pilot to the parents that we were doing the pilot for the middle school, because before we started the metal detectors, we did a pilot. I don't know, Ms. Whitkin, did you get the pilot notification?
Yeah.
Yes, because she has a middle school parent. I don't know if anybody else has a middle school.
Can I ask why we do that?
Why do we notify?
Why do we notify them we're going to scan tomorrow?
No, we don't notify them that we're going to scan tomorrow. We just notify you that we're getting ready to implement the process. They never know when it's going to begin.
Okay.
We did notify them that we were going to do the piloting the next day. But you would be surprised that when we did notify them of the piloting the next day, the items that we found on the ground as we walked in.
The reason I asked that question is because it was proposed, or it was stated to me by a concerned parent, is hey, they let us know beforehand.
Well,
I'm
we
sure it
did,
wasn't intentional to let you know what was happening.
we only did it because we wanted to make them aware that we were going to do a pilot. But, they'll know from now on, we're doing it on a daily basis. Right, so.
Thank you very much.
It's always good preparation
Yes.
before the actual, because if I didn't notify them, I would get a call, I assure you.
And my last statement is, before we get all of this started, do we take the time to like divide the kids, like ninth grade, call them in, discuss with them what our plans are, letting them know? I just feel that if you allow them to understand from your perspective where you're coming, where you're going with this, giving them better understanding, you know, because it's okay to set all this up and start doing it, but if we're not telling the children, this is what we're not going to tolerate, you know, give them a better understanding, communicate with them just a little bit better. I feel that hopefully we all get a better understanding, as well as you do the dialogue to the parents and letting them know what is going on. I just feel that that communication is a little bit better from my perspective.
I will double check to make sure that that's done. They're supposed to communicate to the children that this is getting ready to occur, so that they are aware. The children receive notification. I'll double check to make sure that that's reiterated.
And my next is, for the high school, do you know if Mr. Cannon is still like, because he normally gives like a speech every morning to the students, and a lot of kids were just so excited, and I mean, they look up to him, and you know, they look forward in hearing from him, you know, when he does this in the morning. I'm not sure if he still does or not.
He does.
Okay.
He still does that. When I'm there in the morning, he does his little motivation, and he also does that in between class change. Yes, he does.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we grant the superintendent to go ahead and order the security package that presented to the board on 10/25/2021.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the purchase of additional metal detectors as presented tonight. Is there any discussion?
Just to clarify, that motion is to also authorize the expenditure through 8% funds, is what she's asking.
And through 8% funds.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
Can't do without that.
I would think that purchase of these specific metal detectors, that they can be used in different places where needed, is certainly helpful. And knowing Reverend Jenkins' suggestion about, you know, if we had a board meeting that needed additional security, or if any other event throughout the district, those metal detectors can be moved as needed. That's good to know. Along the lines of the 8% capital project fund, we've just recently had to take in a large amount of money out for our technology needs, and this too is an added amount to that. I know the capital project fund was approved when we completed all budget preparations. How does that affect now these additional expenses, and do we need to consider changing the capital improvement needs that were approved back in June?
These funds are new funds that have not been allocated, approved yet at all. These
Okay.
are new funds that came in September.
Okay. So will that be a line item, then the technology needs, as well as this new line item on the monthly report presented next month?
Yes, it will be a new line, yes.
Thank you.
I think we have to trust our administration to make those type of decisions without really understanding, because I'm sure that they've looked into all of that before that motion is made.
Any other discussion?
I'll just, on what Mr. Jenkins says, trust of the administration is always there. Understanding of the general public is something that we just try to get across a little clearer, because we don't believe anything is going to be brought to us. And I agree with Mr. Jenkins wholeheartedly, that we want to make sure the public understands what we are being asked of us and what we're going to turn around and say yea or nay on and ask of our public to understand what the motions are. But I agree. But it's, you know, I just want to make sure they know that we ask the questions because we get asked the questions. So.
Good job to ask the questions. Any others? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries. Thank you, Dr. Case.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion that we enter into executive session. Upon returning to open session, action may be taken by the board on items discussed during executive session.
Madam Chairman, make a motion, we enter executive session for 5.01, discussion of employment, appointment, compensation, promotion, demotion, discipline, or release of employees related to the district administrative offices, South Carolina Code 30-4-781. 5.02, to receive legal advice where the legal advice relates to a pending, threatened, or potential claim or other matters covered by the attorney-client privilege related to the board policies BB, DBA, and DDD, South Carolina Code 3-4-70A2. And for 5.03, discussion of negotiations incidental to contractual arrangements related to proposal for district technology services and consulting to address recent district technology matter, South Carolina Code of Law, Section 30-4-70A2.
Second.
Thank you. Motion made and seconded to enter into executive session for the reasons just read. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Motion carries. We're now in executive session. Thank you very much.
We're recording.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion that we enter back into open session.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion we enter back into open session.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to enter back into open session. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. We're back now in open session. Thank you very much. This board will meet on Wednesday, the 27th. Is that correct date?
Yes.
At 9 a.m. via Zoom for a special board meeting. The agenda will be posted tomorrow. Is there any other business?
Madam Chair, I make a motion for us to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. Have a nice evening. Thank you.